Hey, good morning, everybody. So let me adjust the camera so you're looking at me and I'm not looking off in a weird angle. And forgive the puppy, he's normally with me, but I wanted to have peace so I could do this video without worrying about it. So now that I'm live, it's all good. All right, let me get Facebook up and going in a bit. If you're wondering what's going on, I am putting links to historical articles and arguments on the comment section on YouTube, and I'm going to be copying the same comments to Facebook. So that way everyone, regardless of where they are, has the same amount of access. So the talking points for today, the first 15 minutes, I want to give you all the disclaimers about who I am, credentials, background. Even though I shouldn't have to explain myself, I want to explain myself for the purpose of the platform for people who are tuning in for the first time. So let's keep this party rolling and then get Instagram online. All right. I'm doing my bandwidth test for everyone because I already know that I'm running multiple devices to broadcast this on 3 platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, and adjust the facing for Instagram. Okay. Cool. All right. So the bandwidth is holding up. I'm happy. Whew. All righty. So, hey everybody, give me a minute. I'm getting everything together because now my computer is slowing down a little bit, and I'm trying to get these different links posted to the different places I'm posting from. Alright. But if you just want to chime in where you're watching from, what city or state, that'd be epic. I greatly appreciate it. All right. Now YouTube wants to crawl. Really, YouTube? You suck. So I'll have to paste these comments and then load them up at another time. All right. And let me go run and check the puppy because he's yelping really bad. Go eat your snack. Please. All right. I'm back. Let's get this party started. I don't care if I'm 4 minutes early. People can rewatch the video or rewind it. All right. All right, I'm almost finished getting everything in. And the universe wants to join in now. All right. I got so much stuff in front of the screen, so forgive me. All right. It's too bright, right? All right. All right, good morning. It's 10 a.m. Central Standard Time in New Orleans, Louisiana. Ta-da! I'm here with you. So I got YouTube, Facebook, everybody up. We are all happy. So to get this started correctly, if you want to chime in with where you're watching from, let me know your thoughts. I would greatly appreciate it. I have the simulcast in 3 countries already. So, boom. We're going to start off with the disclaimers. and with everything I want you guys to understand about this town hall. So, one, hey, good morning. I'm an educator. I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas. I was born at Carswell Air Force Base. My dad was Air Force. So, what I don't have financially, for example, this is not my house, this is my in law's house. I have in life experiences. I've had the opportunity to live in Japan, the Philippines, Spain, Panama, all over the United States, visit many states, whether it was in high school with the family, visit Mexico, and with my fraternity and college endeavors, visit multiple parts of the country, and as well as my profession, taking kids from San Antonio to the East Coast to look at colleges and universities. That's the education disclaimer. The other disclaimer is that anytime a Black person with something to lose, whether it's their career, their livelihood, finances, my small business, you're putting a target on your back. Well, sorry, America, I woke up with a target as my skin tone. Next disclaimer is that I am not out to promote violence against the police. I'm not out to promote violence against society. I am not out promoting any type of violence. What I want to promote is intellectual discourse to solve the problems that we're having globally. If it takes enough Black people to die of police brutality for the world to wake up, his name was George Floyd. It should have been MLK. It should have been Malcolm X. It should have been the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots that destroyed Black Wall Street. Should have been a lot of things. Those things didn't happen. Here's the scope of where my disclaimer is going. I already know opening my mouth, people want to disagree, people want to argue, they want to fight, and they want to show their opinions. Okay. The final disclaimer is that this conversation in town hall that I'm going to leave for the first 15 minutes after my disclaimer is going to hurt. It's not going to be pretty. A lot of people are going to be in their feelings about it. You're going to feel some type of way, as my wife and my sister like to say. And I'm going to tell you point blank, I respect the fact that you have an opinion. I respect the fact that you tuned in to hear me speak. But at any point you disagree with me, you can not watch, you can click off, go get a cup of coffee, come back, deal with it. You need to. If this country is going to move forward, especially after the already divided nation between the haves, the have-nots, blacks, the whites, Jews, the Asians, and every other ethnic community were divided. These are going to be conversations that I'm going to have on my platform of almost 3,000 people, close to 2,500, that if you want to hear me, I hope we can all engage in a safe, healthy discourse. So, first on the agenda, police reform. The number one excuse when people are injured, murdered, or property destroyed, when the police are involved, they say, oh, we're understaffed. When a city doesn't report rape kits or rape testing, they say, oh, well, we don't have enough manpower in the department to process all of these cases. Those are called excuses. So the profession of the police is unique. You have operational immunity. First point is that needs to go. And I want to hit you with why. If a teacher causes harm to a student in the classroom, certifications pulled, they are effectively listed on a do not hire list, their reputation is destroyed, their livelihood's gone, they might as well die or go through burgers for the rest of their life or find a whole new profession. If a doctor kills someone, they broke the Hippocratic Oath, the State Medical Review Board will pull their credentials, review why you don't need to practice anymore, and tell you the same thing. Go find another profession. If a U.S. military person kills an American civilian or any civilian anywhere for any reason, it's an Article 15 military jurisdiction, all of that. Why is it that America's police force gets a blank pass saying, hey, this guy died on your watch? Don't let it happen again. Why is it that as much as television glorifies internal affairs breathing down a cop's neck, that it's not happening in real life with the same veracity and acknowledgement? That's the question. So I'm going to read to you my plan. One, have a nationwide reconstitution of police charters and guidelines. Two, restructure how the police collects its equipment and operational budgets. Three, Mom, please don't walk back here with the echo. I just want you to be louder. It's low. It's low? You hear me clearly. And I got the volume cranked up on all the mics. Sorry, technical interruption. But my number 3 should be number 1, and I forgot to switch it in my notes. We need to do phase stand downs. What is a phase stand down? Military terms, a phase stand down is that when you have an operational theater of combat that is now secured, we don't need 800 people to secure a 50-yard position. We don't. So a phase stand down turns into the reinforcements that came last, go home first. Or they stand down the first responders to the combat environment, and you transition them out for rest, recovery, recuperation, medical, whatever needs to be done to get them back to being the primary garrison of a thing. So in a police department, major metropolitan city, you would take, and we're going to use Houston for example, as many precincts as Houston has, you would take the people that are off duty or on flex duty as you are phasing down one precinct that has the most complaints. The precinct that has the most complaints, what you're going to do is you're going to have internal affairs work with other independent agencies, including the FBI, who doesn't respond to the police. Have the Department of Justice send their own investigators, and you go through every complaint against every officer from that precinct. If they have a criteria number, this is where you need data-driven progress. So if there's 15 complaints versus one cop stemming from one minority group that cop does not represent or is not of that ethnic group, that's the first person off force. Then you systematically repeat the process going through district, sheriff's office, police precincts until you cleanse the problem. That should be number 1. Why? There's too many cops that I've met personally that are beautiful human beings in uniform and out. There's also a disproportionate number of those that I feel have sociopathic tendencies. Not only do they have sociopathic tendencies, they are extremely violent for no reason. They go from calm and collective to insane, agitated in seconds. There's no step process, there's no filter, there's no throttle. It's just, I'm fine, I'm beating the crap out of a suspect who's resisting arrest. I've been on both ends of those situations. Have I been physically beaten by police? No. But we're not getting into that as part of the plan is rolling out. So, continuing on with the plan. 4, breaking the federal power chain. Civilian-based police forces don't need second-hand military firepower for their SWAT teams. That's insane. That is ridiculous. Why does local police need extensively disproportionate firepower to civilians? It's one thing you have SWAT riot gear. It's one thing you have body armor. It's one thing you have helmets. It's one thing that you have limited semi. When you start breaking in armored personnel transports that can only be taken out by high-grade Russian RPGs or missile launchers, it's disproportionate policing. Going back to my first point, the police always scream, we don't have the budget, we don't have the staff. Okay, you don't need a tank. Remove the money from the tank and build civilian positions that don't need a gun to process these rape kits. There's a lot of biology, chemistry majors that aren't going to medical school, that they know how to process lab equipment and lab kits. Give them civilian responsibilities, give them civilian duties, put them in these places. That's what you need to do. Next, 5, reestablish community partnerships with all socioeconomic levels. The running gag is that in the city of Austin, Texas, through the 70s to the mid 80s, you had a cultural mixing pot in education. Not only did you have a cultural mixing pot in education, you had it in the police force. Why? A cop from the rich north side of Austin working in the south side got what? A perspective on how policing is different in socioeconomically depressed communities versus white social problems or wealthy social problems. Oh, my son OD, he's going to the doctor, versus someone ODing or being addicted to drugs in a lower economic community is thrown in prison. Disproportionate law enforcement, disproportionate crime and justice reform needs to be happening. Why do we need to reestablish cross socioeconomic partnerships? Because when that education model was working in Austin, the kids from the rich side, when state testing was scaling up, were being spread out. The top end students were being spread out across the city of Austin, so all students performed well. When you had low end students that were being placed in classrooms with high end students, the high end students, of course, met their educational goals, but then having that social framework built up the lower end kids, all schools were doing well. Then you realize that the logistic chain of buses moving these kids across the city and making sure that all kids were equally dispersed was pissing off the people with money. It was pissing off the people with power. What did they say they were going to do? They says, you know what, we're going to give you all of these schools in your neighborhood. I don't want my kids to be in your neighborhood. I don't want my kids to be around you. What did the white children's kids not look like? Me. They did not look like the Hispanics. They did not look like the indigenous Asian communities of Austin. So what happened? They picked and cherry picked schools to change names of. For example, Conservative School, I proudly served for 5 years. They says, we're going to build a school. We're going to name it after the first Hispanic educator in the city of Austin who broke the race barrier, who broke the racial glass ceiling for Hispanic teachers, for Mexican American teachers. Then what happened? School opens, and slowly that we're moving all these kids across the city to make sure everyone's test scores look great and everyone's performing well. They pull their kids out. They cut off the bus program. They change it to, we're going to localize where we are to where you need to be. Stay out of my neighborhood. Exclusion. That's why we need to reestablish a system that lets kids go to schools all over the city, regardless of socioeconomic status. So, 6, from someone who's dear to my heart and I went to high school with, and she didn't like me at first. I hope she's watching. But if we eliminate operational immunity, then we need to put a system in place that no longer directly impacts the city. For example, in wrongful death case suits, if a black man or a black woman or a Mexican man or an innocent bystander is murdered by police and the case is won, of course, the city or the community that person lived in is hit up for $15 to $10 million. It's worse than being in the insurance racket in Louisiana. That's a joke for later. Don't be offended. But where we're going with this is that if she's in the insurance industry and every police officer has to take out a wrongful death policy that impacts their retirement, it impacts their paycheck, and it impacts their commission as a city public servant, and it impacts the police union, you have just broken operational immunity. If we take off this thin blue line crap, yeah, I'm going to call it what it is, crap. If we remove this thin blue line where it's the brotherhood of the police order, blah, 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 and then we really look at what the problem is systematically, you have operational immunity. You have good cops that are trying to say the right thing, that are being ostracized, punished, and harassed by the ones doing the wrong thing. So if we break our operational immunity, then there's no point to cover for someone anymore. There's no point to say, oh, he was having a bad day. No, that dude's probably insane and a sociopath with a gun that's provided by the city he serves. Let's stop. If you are forced to be financially responsible for anyone that you murder, oh God, I'm guaranteeing that the numbers would drop instantaneously of how many times cops want to draw their guns. But in the breaking of operational immunity, we also need to put in place another system, a system of retraining, a system of vetting, a system of education. For example, traveling to Spain, you have the Guardia Civil, which is the civilian police force. Before they pull their, they stop everyone in the situation. They talk to, they question. If you don't speak the language, they find a translator. They want the whole picture before they react. Europe, not Europe, London, the Royal Police Service, Scotland Yard, same thing. When a situation between civilians unfolds, they talk to everyone and then they cross-examine everyone from a different perspective. For example, if it's two black people arguing, yeah, they might have a white officer, but they might find a black officer on duty to come ethnically and culturally assess the situation. That's the point. So we need to do vetting. That's going to be part of my last point. Supporting point 6. Point 7. All cops must take martial arts and de-escalation techniques. Why? If a cop has pepper spray, a gun, and a taser, why is it that they reach for their guns first? I can living in Texas, and the Texas Castle offense is that if someone encroaches on my property and I'm armed and I've already notified the police, but you're still kicking in the door trying to gain access to me and my family, and I shoot you in a court of law in Texas, that's castle law and self-defense. I have two clauses of immunity that protect me from anything. But if you're dead, there's no witnesses, there's no one left to argue with. So, wrapping everything up, we need to readdress the main theme. If we remove all the excuses from the American police force and we reevaluate the history of America's police force, and then we look at every situation from an objective lens that removes excuses, then we have truly opened up a door for a conversation that is reflective of everyone. Am I saying abolish the police? I've had several conversations in the past couple of days about we need to abolish the police. I'm like, no. And I know it's like a black guy saying not F the police. What's going on? Here's the deal. We don't have an in-between that is effective currently to deal with a non-existent police force. Yes, Minnesota is crossing historical ground to abolish the Minneapolis Police Department. Congratulations. Here's the first problem. For the criminal organizations that exist currently in America, the police are a stopgap. For the neo-anarchists and the terrorists that are walking around in Hawaiian shirts, the police are the local stopgap. If we completely remove any buffer and rip off the band-aids and we get all our feelings out and we piss on the parade, you are letting criminal elements that are going to say, hey, there are no cops. How much hell can I raise? Then all of a sudden, it becomes a race war. Why am I saying it's going to become a race war? Well, the rich people that aren't black are going to say, damn it, we got rid of the cops, now they're destroying everything. And I supported Black Lives Matters. Cop out there. I'm going to call what it is, a cop out. If the poor people that were depending on police because they could not afford to leave the situation that they're living in, there's no police, whatever the situation is, now gets worse. So, how do we start building the bridges? It's simple. If we take a metropolitan police force from any major city in America and we start going through the records, that will take time. That's worse than doing the 2020 census for the United States. We don't have the resources nor the money. So what do? We look at the upcoming budgets, the upcoming elections, everything that's going on. and then we put a pause to the money. We put brakes to it. We slow it down. We stop saying, if every cop has a gun and we have enough ammo in an apartment, we're not buying any more ammo. If we have enough cops that have been reported and harassed and they're going through the part of the plan of vetting, then it's like, oh, wait a minute. We removed operational immunity. You have this list of complaints. You are a female Hispanic officer who harasses black men, harasses black women. We have over 30 complaints. This happened in San Antonio for the record. She's a sheriff official. You can Google her. She goes out of her way to harass the black community. Interesting. So we pull her. You will no longer represent anyone in any form of capacity for law enforcement. Dismissed. Her salary goes back to the pool. Every cop that is convicted of being dirty or investigated for complaints, wrongful death suits, you name it, their money goes into funding these civilian positions. If there is a cop that you find redeemable, regardless of where you're at, then turn him into a permanent desk employee. Here's what happens. He goes and gets educated on how to run a rape kit. He goes and gets educated on how to run forensics. He's no longer allowed to carry a gun. He's not even allowed to carry a taser. He gets pepper spray. He's not allowed to have a patrol car. Wait, did I say that out loud? Yes. Now, sidebar. The city of Detroit has had corrupt funding with the Ford Motor Company for years. Why would a $22,000 police vehicle with upgrades run the city of Detroit $500,000? Because funding programs that were corrupt. We need to have external financial forensic investigators go evaluate every contract for equipment, for facilities, and for the charters with the cities that they represent. Why are we going to do that? Because I guarantee you will find every penny you need to fund these civilian positions. Then, what's worse than having internal affairs crawling up a cop's behind? A civilian correcting their reports. So, what happens? You take every detective with a partner and then you give them a third and a fourth person that only stay in-house. So that cop goes out, body cam clicks on the second they hit the door. So that means their entire conversation from leaving the building until they get to where they're going and come back is recorded. All their actions are recorded. There's enough computer servers in the world to safely store that data. The only time you are not on someone's watch list is when you go home and clock out. You want your First Amendment rights to say whatever you want that's racial advice, you say it off the clock. You don't say it in the building. That's like me as a black educator. I hate white people. I would be fired faster than I could blink. I would have my state credentials revoked. I would not be able to collect my salary. Whatever the investigation is will condemn me. Fuck giving cops operational immunity ever again. That's gone. So having that team of 4 you have someone that is independently unbiased, that processes all the evidence they collect and turn in. Then you have someone that works with the community in that same grouping, and that one person works for the entire department. Because that's too many people being pulled from their normal daily lives. You have one person that works at one precinct that represents the community that sits in as suspects are interrogated. You could de-escalate so many things just from properly having conversation. And that's what I want the world to recognize. If we de-escalate, we could accomplish so much more. Moving on, we're done with the police reform. We're moving into the protest reflection. So, a friend of mine on Facebook, won't mention by name, commented that the Boston Tea Party was white property owners destroying British tea and refusing to pay taxes. It's a protest. It's destruction of property. You are destroying another country's property. So let's fast forward. If I am trapped behind enemy lines and I am not a wealthy property owner, but I want to make a statement, I'm going to destroy the property of the people oppressing me. So yes, I still feel that these protests are justified. Looting. How do I feel about looting? Businesses have insurance policies. In most cities and states and municipalities in the United States of America, you have to have operational insurance. You have to pay premiums. So, yeah, it looks bad in the optic of, oh, they're looting. These minorities, we give them jobs and jobs that aren't paying $15 an hour. We give them health insurance that no one can afford. We give them places to live in that may or may not be safe. They have the audacity to destroy property. You brought it on yourself. The deal is that when you look at who are the people that are coming out and not doing the peaceful protesting and the destruction of businesses and looting, these are your anarchists. These are your terrorists. These are the people that are to their benefit. Now, if you show Hurricane Katrina, here's the optics historical lesson. If you show the optics of Hurricane Katrina, there's two black kids that are going to an abandoned store looking for water and medical supplies. They are thugs and they are criminals. You have two white kids that are escaping from a university or a college that are doing the same thing. They are heroes. Wait, but we're all Americans. No, but you're black and you can't do that. But it's white and it's okay. So what America is really saying is that the existence of African Americans and minorities is at the convenience of the people in power. I think it's Voltaire, don't quote me. Make fun of the people that are oppressing you and you find out who you're not allowed to insult. So American media says, oh, Black Panther is racially biased against white superheroes. Sorry, American comic book industry, 95% of your heroes for the first 10 years from the 1940s to the 1950s were what? White. Representation matters. So, do I love Marvel Comics? Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed that one of the chair people and the CEOs of the current Marvel industry is supporting the Donald Trump campaign. Back to the protests. There's a beautiful movie that came out in 1986 starring a 6-foot brunette called Aliens. Halfway through the movie, as people of all ethnicities are dying from horrific alien attacks, she's sitting in the base and she's like, you know what? We're going to lift off and we're going to nuke the entire site from orbit and start over. Yeah. Looting. I'm not going to say burn the White House. No, I'm not saying that at all. And I know someone's going to misconstrue my words. Am I saying that we need to burn Wall Street? They burned the Black Wall Street. Let's burn the white one. Let's completely break the economic cycle and start over. How do we burn it? We don't support white businesses. How do we burn it? We do not support the people that oppress us. We don't support the businesses that have made their own blacklist of them telling us where they're spending their political capital. So any business that spends their political capital supporting a bigot and a racist, you're not getting my money. Even though I'm an educator, I don't have a whole lot, you're not getting mine. And I'm going to encourage anyone that has money in the millions of dollars for a political campaign to spend against you. That's as simple. That's how you burn something without causing physical damage. Now, Drew Brees, God have mercy on his soul. How can you be willfully ignorant all the time? And I can tell you why. I'm a 42-year-old football player in the National Football League. I have one Super Bowl ring. I've done more damage. I hate Tom Brady. I still don't like you. I will never like you. You're the antithesis of my love of football, Tom Brady. Drew Brees has black teammates. He grew up in Austin, Texas, which is supposed to be this cultural, Neapolitan, old money versus new money, hippie bohemian. It will always be the most racist capital state city in America, behind a few others. Why? The haves have always segregated themselves from the poor. The haves have always said, I need you to what? Be convenient to my existence to do two things. Serve me and make me happy. That's the problem with Austin, Texas. They want black music artists to come there, entertain them, and then get the hell out. They want the blacks that still live there to work quietly, accept police brutality, and shut up about it. Drew Brees, even though you came out and redeemed yourself, the fact that you don't want to respect Colin Kaepernick is the biggest hypocritical statement that you can make. As a professional athlete, you are the face of your team. As a quarterback of a city that recovered from Hurricane Katrina and is still recovering, you only had to say one thing: I support you. That's all. Bump your feelings about disrespecting the flag. If a military veteran comes out and says, if you kneel during the national anthem, it's not a sign of disrespecting the flag. If a white military general amens that assessment of what Kaepernick did, and you're still offended, you're the idiot. You're the idiot. You're the racist. You're the closet Uncle Tom, Ku Klux Klan member, however you want to frame it. If everyone that you claim to respect says that it's okay to kneel during the national anthem as a solidarity against the atrocities being committed in this country, that's the answer. All you had to say was, I support you. I'm not asking you to throw up Black Lives Matter all over your Instagram feed. I'm not asking you to support a Blackout Tuesday event. I'm telling you that you had a pass to say, I support you. Having this generic statement of my teammates, my friends, my family, my community spoke out against me, you are going for the color generic answer. No, all you had to say is, I support you. Support your teammates, support your friends, support the people that gave you that damn Super Bowl ring. All you do is have the ball. You throw it, you hand it off. The people that carried those touchdowns were Black. The people that kept you from getting knocked on your ass was your offensive line. Your offensive line, most of them were Black. The people that kept the other team from scoring and putting up points and gave you that interception were Black. Shut the fuck up, Drew Brees. I'm done with you. You really need to redeem yourself in the eyes of America, especially Black America. Moving past Drew Brees. The historical implications of what's going on, if you look where I put comments on Facebook and on YouTube, I can't do it on Instagram, I'm sorry. If you truly want to understand the depths of police violence in America, we need to start with the colonization of America. Why do we need to start with the colonization? Because the definition of police, as revered throughout history, and I'm going to paraphrase without reading you a 4-page document, is this. You are giving someone the authority and a representation with a badge, a document to protect your property. If you read the Constitution and you really look at it, white property owners wrote our founding fathers of this great nation wrote a document that gave the police operational immunity back then. Why? If you were a Southern property owner and you had slaves and your slaves ran away, you had two options. There was no state police at the time. There was a sheriff's office and local police. There was no state police. You hired someone to go get your property back, you went and did it yourself, or you had the police show up to keep them in line. So, side story, why is this important? When I was teaching in Austin, Texas, I went to a job fair because I wanted to get out of Austin. I didn't like it. There's a lot of personal reasons why I don't like Austin. I will always love the school I worked at. I will always love my coworkers. This city is cancerous to me. So, Alabama had a small town Alabama had a recruiting station at this job fair. They wanted to go into the inner cities and inner city communities in Alabama and go teach. Red flag number one: Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana were the proponent slave states in the Confederate War, Civil War. How did they keep people in line? Lynching. Lynching. We still have police protected lynching today. I don't have to read you the names in the past 10 years. You can Google them. Operational immunity supports lynching, regardless of what the agenda is. It's lynching. Do we need a police force? Yeah. I don't have to own a house to be protected as an American citizen. I should be covered by the charters and the rights in my city. period. Fast forward. The Alabama recruiter's like, hey, Mr. Montague, you've taught in Japan. That's amazing. You can teach your students Japanese. You do science, technology, and STEM in your classroom, even though you're business certified. We'd love to have you come down here. And I'm like, there's no way on God's green earth I am staying or living in Alabama. That's dark to my soul to even think about the possibility of waking up as a black man in Alabama. No matter how much progress we've had in the last 50 years, the Crimson Tide is still one of the most racist educational institutions in the nation. Alabama State. I don't want any part of it. Period. Done. Now. Good. No disrespect to the people that live there, that enjoy it, that are black. No. Good. The job was, we're offering a salary of $45,000 with a $30,000 conditional bonus. Basically, the first year the year I moved to that school, they would have given me $4,000 to cover moving expenses. Anything else I got to keep. Every year I stayed, that signing bonus would have continued. If you've ever been in the military and you got that recontracting bonus, you know that every time you recontract, that bonus gets less and less and less. The joke with that contract is that once you stay 3 years, they didn't have to pay you the difference. I was looking at the fine print. So every community that's been marginalized in America has been encouraged through the American education system to remain marginalized, to be distrustful of the other minorities that have been marginalized. The Gary Act for the Chinese, the internment camps for the the Japanese Americans that were naturalized before World War II. There's still an internment camp that is standing, that's historically accurate, south of San Antonio. The blacks that built this country. It's funny, I had this conversation with my mother-in-law. If you take the oppressed, colonists are oppressors in this regard. The Puritans ran from Britain so they could practice religion the way they wanted to, because in Britain, it didn't make sense to the majority public. When you look at the Irish being banished from their people, there was a disagreement somewhere, and the only way out. When you look at every immigrant that saw America as an opportunity to do something great, they brought the systematic oppression with them. Why is this controversial? Because a lot of people say, we were running for our freedom. Yeah, but you used slaves to build a nation. So, tying in Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. As a human being who has experienced life in other countries and recognizes the value of humanity, yes, life matters. All life. I don't like Nazis. I don't like the historical people of Belgium and King Leopold that murdered 10 million Africans for pseudoscience medical experiments. I don't like the Japanese all the time, even though I love Japan. I don't like the raping in Nanking. I don't like the Vietnam War. I don't like history. So can I say all life matters? Yeah. All the life that was lost built the future off the horrors of the past in the present we live in. So the people that are breathing and walking around as Americans or wherever country you live in have the opportunity to do something different than what your ancestors did. Did my ancestors get a choice? And I'm kind of bitter about that, because you had Africans selling Africans to the colonists. And it's like, how am I supposed to feel about Africa when you don't respect me now as a Black American? You have these super political Africans that are like, oh, we don't want anything to do with the Black Americans, you're on your own. And then on the other side of Africa, you have, we want you to come home to the motherland. We want you to bring your economic dollars here for tourism and see if you might want to stay. Yeah. And then it's the safety and security of living. All Lives Matters is a cop-out, and I'm going to call what it is. It's a blanket cop-out saying, my life matters. Carrying your Starbucks run in the morning where you pass that Black neighborhood you ignore out the side of your car windows is not acceptance. You're ignoring their existence. You're saying that, you know what, it's okay, you're alive, you're here, but I don't want to be bothered with you. to go to Starbucks and come back. That's not all life matters. If all life matters, then the police wouldn't be the tool of oppression to keep the minorities in their neighborhoods, to let you have your comfortable, safe, run to Starbucks to get your latte and come home and sit there and Netflix and chill. That's not what life matters means. As an educator, every child that walks into my room, I am not looking at the color of your skin. I am not looking at the home life you have. I am looking at clay. God said it best. If you're in a potter's house, the potter takes whatever clay he has and works his magic to build something beautiful. As a teacher, I want to give my life experiences of the struggles and the successes that I've been through to my students so they can glean some wisdom from my life to make better decisions for themselves as they leave my classroom. That's the only reason why I teach. There's no money in it. I had an opportunity to go work in corporate America, and I hate it. I was bored to tears. I didn't want to be bothered anymore. And this was an internship in college. If a corner office and $300,000 is your happiness, go for it. Do it. So we're going to flip into going forward and why Black Lives Matters. One, the Black Lives Matters movement didn't say only Black Lives Matters. Didn't say we're the only people that matter right now. No. Black Lives Matter says I'm tired of being lynched by the police. I'm tired of being exiled in my own community from the people that have money that don't want to be bothered with me. I'm tired of being marginalized, disrespected, and harassed. I'm tired of having my voice ignored in local and state governments, or I have to compensate myself to be complacent to your demands. I tip my hat off to every Black politician, regardless of what side of the fence you're on. Why? You had to go through your own personal hell to wear that badge to represent the people and the communities that you serve. My hat's off to you. Now, matters is not a war cry against white America. It's not a war cry against Asian Americans. It's not a war cry against Hispanic Americans. It's not a war cry against the LGBTQ community. It's not. It's saying that people that look like me, regardless of their skin tone and shade, have the equal rights and responsibilities of contributing to the society that we live in. Period. We want fair and equal representation. Not only do we want fair and equal representation, we want fair and equal economic opportunity. Am I going to sit here and toot my horn? Nah. My business that I started in 2013 was severely impacted by COVID-19. Now, fast forward to the government programs. I don't qualify because I'm the sole operator LLC. So there's no paycheck protection for me. Am I pissed about it? Disappointed. Are there other opportunities? Teaching job, and I can further continue to support my business until my business can take me out of the classroom permanently. Kosher. So, how do we deal with white privilege now? If you are one of the protesters that are standing in front of the Black people, hats off to you. If you are one of those business owners that are white, Asian, or whatever, and you're hiring someone that doesn't look like you and you're welcome into your business cleanly, openly, and honestly to better your business, do it. Businesses that I'm still not going to support, most of America's music industry. Why? Because all these little Black rappers that are promoting violent imagery of Black men raping, murdering, and disrespecting women, I'm still never going to support. I'm done. The Black rappers that are coming out that are promoting homosexuality, that's a mixed conversation, and I want to be very blunt and clear about it. If you're Black and you're gay, like my brother is, you're going to be Black and you're gay. I love my brother. My brother asked me to discuss this, and he sent me an image that was very disturbing of a gay Black man with a hoodie on, and the N word is written across a gun coming from a white cop, and then faggot is written across the gun of a black guy who doesn't like the homosexuality. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Bible. A lot of people are going to say, oh no, he's bringing religion. He's not an ordained minister. He's not a pastor. No, I'm a student of the Bible, God-fearing man. If God says love thy neighbor, he didn't give you any damn qualifications. Before you go sweep the porch in front of someone else's house, you need to clean out your own damn closet. If someone's gay and they're in the lifestyle, do it. If that's who you truly are, do it. I disagree with you forcing your lifestyle upon others. If someone's gay curious, let them go on that journey. Don't convert them. That's the same way I feel about when you have kids that are gay and their parents own them, discharge them out of their life, walk out on them and leave them. I had a student I taught, I knew he was gay. All of his friends knew he was gay. But he decided to skip school one day. His parents came home, caught him, and they sent him all the way to California to a gay camp to make him straight. I completely disagreed with that. I do. If he's gay, just accept it. The fact that my brother's not going to make me an uncle, I've accepted. If he adopts a kid, I'm going to love that kid like he was produced from my brother's loins. Doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me is that we have to have this damn conversation. It's ridiculous. It's demeaning. It's degrading. What really throws me for the hypocritical bullshit call is the Greeks, the Romans, and Europe had a lot of homosexuality for people of privilege, but oh no, you poor people can't do it. Then you come here, build this country shit half the time because of how we treat each other, but then it's, oh no, we can't have homosexuality running rampant. It's degrading, it's demeaning. I'm like, it's in your fucking history books. Your ancestors did it. You force it upon the blacks, and then you want to sit here and tell me how to live my life. Kiss my ass. So, moving forward, here's how I've always lived my life. Treat me how you want to be treated. If you don't want me in your house, I'm not inviting you to my house. If you don't want me to spend my money with you, that's perfectly fine. Now, someone shot me a comment a couple of days ago. So why do you say Japan seems real nice? Japan seems real nice because I don't have to wake up and wonder if I'm going to make it home as a black man. Period. For 2 years, I got to wake up, go sit on a lake, go walk across a river, go look at a train station. And if I saw the police, they waved at me. I got off the plane in 2017, and there's cops all throughout Narita International Airport looking at people coming in. Wasn't harassed once. Matter of fact, the immigration guy was in love with the fact that my wife helped me wash and pack my clothes. He's like, your clothes smell amazing. What did you use? I said, Gain. And he had to pull out his phone and look it up. He's like, oh, that's at Costco, which is Costco in Japanese. And it was a beautiful 2-minute conversation. In America, I wake up and it's like, man, I want to go shopping and I want to go out to Jefferson Parish. Knowing that my old car, you can find these pictures of my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The old Lancer with the black racing stripe, red trim, and the silver accent colors got me harassed by Jefferson fucking Parish. No love lost. The deal is like, I went out to dinner to go visit my brother-in-law and sister-in-law several years ago. Getting pulled over, getting off at the Marrero exit from the West Bank Expressway. He hits his lights, pulls us over. Doesn't explain why he's pulling us over. It's like, hey, I noticed your car. I'm like, yeah, I noticed that you followed me from 2 exits back off and you decided to pull me over here in a parking lot where there's no cameras. What's up? So he's already on the defensive. I'm already annoyed and pissed. Oh, I'm done. He's like, sir, you know I pulled you over? No, I'm waiting for it. You were speeding. 30 miles an hour speeding? And a posted speed limit is 30. Not buying it. Sir, is your car registered in the state that you live in? I'm not effing. Texas driver's license, Texas insurance card, Texas plates. No. I'm visiting my brother and sister-in-law having dinner. What is it your business? Am I being investigated? So, one, Jefferson Parish is one of the most historically racist police departments and sheriff's departments in the nation. I'm going to leave it right there. You can do all your own research. Was I angry in how I handled the situation? No, I was angry that I don't feel safe in the United States of America as a black man. That's the problem. That's the whole problem. Why is it that I can go to Spain with my family as a young child and feel safe and happy? I can go to Panama and be around my cousins and feel safe and happy. Why is it that I can go to an airport and feel safer than I feel in my own community? That's the problem. The other part of the problem is, why is it that I can go to Japan, get lost, and want to talk to a police officer to get directions? I feel safe. That's the whole message of Black Lives Matters. I should feel safe in the communities that I live and work in. I should feel safe if I want to go shopping at this nice new fancy shopping center and spend my hard-earned money. I should not have to be harassed by security in the store. I'm not getting into those stories because I got too many of them. I feel safer in Japan. I appreciate the Japanese community welcoming in Tokyo and Fukuoka and Kumamoto and Kobe and Oita. Wherever I've been, I know that I get lost on a train, they'll put me back on a train. I know if I explain my situation in my terrible Japanese and with Google Translate, I don't have to be in fear of my life. So someone else on Instagram shot me a message this morning saying, are you talking about what it's like to be a black nerd? I'm like, yeah. And I told him that's going to be the very last thing I talked about before I wrap this up. Growing up in a mixed community, one, I love athletes. I can't stand your effing locker room. No matter where I wanted to go play sports or join a team, the locker rooms were nasty. There's fecal matter on the floor, there's feces smeared on lockers, and they thought it was funny. That's nasty. Growing up how I grew up, that shit doesn't fly. I can't tell you high school, I didn't play sports. Dudes are nasty. So if you played sports, hats off to you. I found comfort in books, role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons. I survived the 666 massacre by the U.S. News in the 80s and 90s with my parents. But 40K Battletech has been my thing for 20 years. Why? I can play the little blue fish people. I can play War Machine and be the protector of Minot. Spanish Inquisition, it took John Simon destroying me for a game to make me one of the most epic effing players in the shop. Losing and learning the mechanics of my army, I took those skills and applied it to everything else I do. What am I doing wrong? Who can teach me? How do I grow? How do I become better? Thank you, John. 40K, with Chuck was in a crew between Galactic Games and Gamers Matrix and Metairie. It's like, here's how your rules actually work. Here's the mechanics of the game that you need to understand. Then it was sitting down with Chuckles and it's like, how many marker lights can I put out there? And then it became the number crunching. It's like, wait, I can get 6 marker lights for less than 100 points and it counts. And I'll never forget the game against the Sisters of Battle where I had 22 marker lights that hit, and then I rolled an epic number of 1s and 2s. That was karma saying, hey, shut up, ho, slow down, be humble. So What drove me away from the Warhammer community all happened in San Antonio, Texas. 3 different game clubs that became one sausage fest of white privileged Republicans walking into the establishments where I was visiting with their MAGA hats. Okay, no, I'm not. If I'm already having issues with the police, what makes you think I want to sit down and roll dice with you over a game about your political affiliation? What really pissed me off was one guy says, Javon is a black Republican. He knows where his place is and he should be happy with it. To this guy, that guy, this is for you. You don't know me from a pot to piston. You didn't go to high school with me. You didn't go to college with me. You have not been through a day in my life dealing with the police and politics as a black man. Historically, I voted Democrat. Why? America's political system is always a lesser of two evils for blacks in this nation. If Colin Powell, as one of the few black Republicans I respect, ran for office, he had my vote. It wasn't even a question. Why? Military background, very bipartisan, very willing to solve the issues going on in the world. And I respect that man from the beginning to the end of my life. Period. Done. The guy at the comic book shop, I don't know where he thought I was a black Republican because, yeah, 2007, 2008, Bush's tax program was everyone pays 10%. I'm like, I get more money back to buy more toys. I was single at the time. Yeah, that works. Everything else, not. F Bush. It's my opinion. I got my First Amendment right, but the fact that I said that in his presence completely destroyed his calm, and we got into a 3-hour yelling match about politics, and we both got told to leave. And I play Tau. If you don't know what the Tau are, we are bluefish people with lots of railguns, missiles, and bombs. We don't win a fist fight for nothing in this world. He played Space Marines, and the fact that he said Space Marines are the only race in the game that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, it's a flagship. From the business angle, Space Marines have sold Warhammer 40K since Warhammer 40K stopped being figures that you buy from a catalog in Europe, and they came up with a game system. Yeah, I like the fact that white supremacists that play 40K got slapped in the face with the latest edition of Black Space Marines. I'm like, oh, it took them 25 years to realize we don't have any black people really represented in the Warhammer 40K universe. I'm glad that Warhammer corporate says we stand in solidarity with black people around the world. Great. I'm glad that Activision, another video game company, says we stand in solidarity with the black community. So before you guys get pissed off about looters destroying the Nintendo office or what have you or whatnot, keep in mind there are people that are specifically targeting anyone that supports Black Lives Matter or stands in solidarity with the black community as a retort. It's the most pettiest retort, but they're saying, oh, you support us, or those white people, we're coming for you. That's not me. That's not us. Those are people that are victimizing a situation for their own benefit. They are adding fuel to the fire to support their cause. So, will I come back to the 40K community? Most definitely. Not with 8th edition, probably not with 9th, maybe with 10th. Why? Facebook's Instagram's going to kick me off, and I'm perfectly cool with that. So for the Instagram crowd, I've said my piece. Have a beautiful day. I'm going to end this video. It'll be up on IG. Bang. So I'll work on that later. Here's the whole story of why I'm wrapping this up now. I've been talking for an hour, and Most of my students, if they've ever sat in my class, you either love me running my mouth or you hate me running my mouth. Here's the deal. The final summation of this is that I know that my fan base on Instagram, Mecca Madness, is going to divide themselves and cut themselves out. I wish you the best in life. I'm not saying I hate you. I'm not saying I'm mad at you. I'm saying that your politics and your feelings about my existence and how you feel about my existence will never connect, meet in the middle, or can be discussed. Goodbye. I wish you the best. Godspeed to whatever life throws at you. I'm not wishing you any ill will. I just know that I like living, I like being a nerd, and I like the opportunity to meet new people and enjoy a game universe that is mutually exclusive to no one. And we can sit there and laugh and joke about it. I'm all for that anytime you want to do it. Shoot me a message. If you want to talk about why I think the Capellans are the devil versus why I think House Mark is Space America versus why the Dracone's Combine, where did I put my shirt? Is the worst house but the most fun house of space xenophobia to play. I got reasons. I'm more than happy to discuss them. The final summation of this, though, is that as a black nerd who didn't get into sports or athletics or live in that athletic mindset, I respect athletes more now as an adult versus when I was in high school because I wasn't in that little clique of the crew. I'm a nerd. I completely embrace it. I like comic books, I like video games, I like anime, I like building computers, I like 3D printing, I like being a pseudo engineer by designing stuff on Tinkercad to turn into Battletech terrain. It's awesome. It's life. It's me. But at the same time, being a college educated, responsible, contributing member of society whose profession is education, I could not sit by, watch the Karens, the Curtins, and the colonists of the world burn what Black Lives Matter stands for. Am I saying I hate white people? No. Perfect example. My running buddy, who I won't mention by name, that kept me mentally grounded through my times on a jet program, went back to Japan. And that was the best decision he could have made for himself, and I wish him the best doing it. But back in 2005, when I had no one to communicate with that spoke English or gave me any sense of humanity or being home, it was him. And I thank God for him every day. The other person that made the jet program epic and beyond belief is married to a Japanese man that has 3 beautiful children. She had twins the second time around. She's one. But the point is that I told her I was coming back to Japan in 2017, and I said, I will come see you. I'm a man of my word. Tell you I'm going to do something. I'm going to do my damnedest to get it done. If I forget, remind me. But I'm never doing it arbitrarily to ignore you. I never want to ignore anybody, ever. The point is that I kept my promise. I consider her a friend and family to this day because I wanted to learn Japanese. I wanted to get better with my Japanese. Not only did I want to get better with my Japanese, I truly wanted to appreciate her kindness. What happened? When you get off the plane on the jet program, you know, most people do the thing, they kiss the ground, like that's dirty and nasty. Now I kiss the window, that's still dirty and nasty. But when they cattle car you off to the Keio Plaza Hotel, they collect you as you're coming out of customs. They put you on this bus. She was sitting there in her Lolita outfit with the little bat wing emblem and whatnot. And I'm like, this is the most authentic mother heifer on this bus. I had a guy next to me who was complaining that, oh, I couldn't bring my violin. And he was clearly from a privileged family. And he was ignoring the fact that I was there. He was even annoyed that I was a black guy sitting next to him for a 4-hour bus ride from Narita to the Keio Plaza Hotel. And I kept up with her because it's like, hey, thank you for being a human fucking being. Thank you for being yourself. Thank you for being you. And the fact that she liked D&D and Silent Hill and video games, we clicked. And that's a lifelong friend. So, of course, I will keep those who embrace the same things I embrace, that embrace me, your family. You're not just a damn friend, you're family. I just wish I could spend time with my people in Japan, as well as the people in New Zealand I want to catch up with, as well as the people in Ireland and England and Scotland and all over the United States. And my Canadian people, please, if we go out for hamburgers, no mayonnaise. That's the only thing I ask. I'll bring my own barbecue sauce. I'll bring my own steak sauce, but no mayonnaise on a damn hamburger. I want to get, I literally, once this COVID stuff is done with, I want to come go see everybody. I want to see the world. And that's something we'll discuss later on through the business. But if you've been with me for an hour and 17 plus and some change, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, as a representative of the Montague family and the tribe that I'm married to, and I love the clan. They're not the clan, but you know what I mean. I love them. And the fact that my mother-in-law let me run my mouth for this long on her bandwidth, epic in and of itself. So with that, Black Lives Matters. Recognize your privilege. If you're truly an ally to what's going on, use it. If you're neutral, I'm not mad at you. I don't hate you. I want you to recognize that every Black Lives law should be on your conscience for not stepping up and doing something. If you're against me, Godspeed on your journey through life. I hope you run into someone who changes your mind. That's all I got to say.